Friends, you are watching The Main Viewer. Today, we're going to be talking with filmmaker Brian Volk-Weiss, who is currently getting tons of praise for his Star Trek documentary series on the History Channel and History Vault entitled The Center Seat, 55 Years of Star Trek. Right now, people are saying, oh, he did that? I love that show. We'll also be joined by our pal and filmmaker Scott Baker to talk a bit about Star Trek news and some awesome 1993 Star Trek trivia provided to us by our pal and occasional Star Trek science advisor, Dr. Mohammed Noor. First, let's introduce everybody, our very special guest. He's the aforementioned filmmaker that brought us The Center Seat and also Netflix's Toys That Made Us and a shocking amount of other cool projects, Brian Volk-Weiss.
Hi, thank you for permission to come aboard. Isn't that what I gotta say?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Get this right.
Also, our co-hosts today, he once sailed through space and proved an old Bajoran story true with nothing but his dad and his wits, Sirach Lofton.
Hello, everybody. Also had a map too, that helped.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And a really cool vest. Or was it your dad that had that cool vest?
Yeah, my dad had the cool vest. He had that African print vest.
Yeah, so cool.
My headcanon
Also,
is Jake stole it.
Yeah.
Right.
She's an associate producer of The Seventh Rule, as well as Virtual TrekCon's resident web crawler and resident Star Trek encyclopedia, Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel.
Oh, thanks for having me. And also happy Doctor Who Day to those who observe.
Oh, all right.
58th anniversary.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Cool.
58.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, by the way. I don't know anything about Doctor Who.
Same.
Yes.
Extent of my knowledge.
Sorry, guys. I recognize the references.
For me, it's a bridge too far.
I know about it. I just don't know anything about it.
Totally. Okay, so very quickly in the news, Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Prodigy were released on the same day last week, which is the first time that's happened in decades. It was a nice little handoff of Prodigy.
Years.
How many?
Wow.
22.
Wow. It was a nice little handoff of Prodigy, finishing its first 5 episodes before taking a 2-month break until January, and Discovery premiering the first episode of its 4th season. Also, Virtual TrekCon's other host channel, besides The Seventh Rule, Falling Tower, reached the 1 million subscriber milestone last week. My partner on that channel is Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. He is currently still recovering from his kidney transplant, so he can't be here with us for that reason. Some of you actually saw that he got the news while we were recording an episode for our show, and so that episode just premiered a couple days ago on our mini-con, but we'll talk a bit more about all that. He's doing great, by the way. We'll talk all about that a little later. That was a lot of stuff. Let's get into it. Brian, oh my goodness, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. This is the coolest thing ever.
I'm doing great, and I've been looking forward to doing this for a couple weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, you've been really good with us, and thank you so much for all the quick responses and for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Star
First
Trek,
question,
man. Of course.
I know.
And also,
First
you know,
question.
Mark Altman, who helped us hook this up.
Very
God
true.
bless
One of my
all.
favorite and glorious Treksperts. I love him.
My North Star. The guy who makes me feel like I never heard of Star Trek every time we hang out.
Anne-Marie, thank you. Yes, Mark A. Altman, God bless you. You are so
Love
cool.
him.
Thank you so much for hooking this up for us. Really, really appreciate him. Brian, let's just get to it. What's your favorite Star Trek series? That's it.
Series, I mean, it would have to be Next Gen, but my favorite Star Trek is the Kirk and Spock movies.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
interesting.
not an original series guy too much, but I love Star Trek 1 through Generations. But if we're only talking about series, it would be Next Gen. But close second, Deep Space Nine. And I say that public. I'm not just saying that because you're here.
Yeah, that's cool with me. That's a good lineup. So you obviously were a Star Trek guy before even doing this documentary. Is that fair to say?
I did the documentary because I am a Star Trek guy. Yeah, I mean, I've been into it since I was 5. Rathacon is, I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but hopefully this is a safe place to say crazy shit like this.
Just between the four of us.
It's the closest thing I have to like a code or a guide or something like that. So literally in my will, it says on my tombstone, it'll write, I don't believe in the no-win scenario. So
yes,
that has been the guiding philosophy of my life, probably since I was 8 or 9.
Wow.
Seems to have served you pretty well, by the way, so far.
Too early to tell, but thank you.
Sure seems like it. I've got another quick question, and I was just thinking about this like 20 minutes ago. Deep Space Nine movie, Deep Space Nine season 8, Enterprise season 5, Voyager movie, Voyager season 8. Out of those theoretical things, which would you want to see the most, Brian?
Deep Space Nine season 8, easily. Because I feel as much as I don't want to get in any trouble, but there's parts of Deep Space Nine that I love, like 85% of it. And then there's the 15% where I was always like, oh, maybe I'll get a Coke from the fridge. And the part that usually had me go get a Coke from the fridge involved those wonderful things called par wraiths. And what I loved about the ending of Deep Space Nine was like the ending of Next Gen really wrapped up everything. But what I loved about the ending of Deep Space Nine and what could have been a season 8 was the par wraiths were kind of wrapped up. So in my mind, season 8 would have been 100% of what I loved.
Par wraiths free zone.
Deep Space Nine. Yeah.
Amazing.
Wow.
Now, did you learn anything while you were doing the documentary that like you didn't know, like during your conversations? Were there things that surprised you?
Well, every episode, like, so for example, like the original series, I probably had like a PhD in that topic. The animated series, I didn't even have like a first grade education. The first Star Trek movies, 99 PhDs. That like, so everything was a little different depending on my interests. So like I learned so much about the animated series, but I learned very little about Star Trek 2. So, but I learned a fair amount about Deep Space Nine that I didn't know, and quite a bit about Voyager as well. I think one of the things which is interesting about making documentaries is it's all about timing. The same person can be asked the same question every 5 years, and you'll get different answers because psychologically things start to get declassified over time. So we got a lot of stuff because it was 55 years later that even when we were doing our 50th anniversary special, which I take responsibility for, but I do not like. So I want to be very open about that. But there were people we interviewed Nicholas Meyer 5 years ago, and we interviewed him 3 months ago. Sometimes we asked them the same question. We always got different answers.
Wow.
That was actually like one of the really cool things. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Anne-Marie, go ahead.
Oh, just that was one of the really cool things as I've been watching Center Seat. Like I listened to so many Star Trek podcasts and like every documentary multiple times, and just like seeing different actors and people from the crews answers change over the years as they like get older and more hindsight, and just like the way questions are asked and put together. Every documentary tells a different story. And another shocking thing is how many things I've actually learned, even about Deep Space Nine, which I feel like I do know a fair amount about. It's just amazing to be able to like still watch this. And I was talking to some of the other like major diehard Trekkies who also like go to bed with Larry Nemeczek every night and really, really listen to a ton of podcasts. And everybody has said across the board, like they're all like shocked that there's still things that they're learning. It's that good.
First of all, thank you on behalf of the whole crew. But we have a research department that's been working together for almost 6 years since Toys That Made Us. And it's one of the things we do, and I don't know if other people do this or not, I don't know, but we watch everything that's been done. So when we make a documentary about He-Man, we watch all the other He-Man documentaries to make sure we're not making the same fucking documentary they did.
Did somebody say He-Man?
Oh, that's your favorite.
I love He-Man.
But with Star Trek, it was much easier because I think I've seen them all. So the other thing is, like with the original series, again, just using examples, since I was probably 10, 11, 15, whatever, it's always driven me crazy that Lucille Ball gets no credit for what she did. She does in the books. She never gets, she might be mentioned in the docs, but they never have gotten into how much skin she had in the game, like how many, like, so that was something I've been wanting to do for 30 years. On animated series, we had the luxury, to the best of my knowledge, being the first people to ever make a documentary about it. So it was different challenges in both cases, but we're very cognizant of trying to give people a unique experience while also telling the story.
Also, I've been really enjoying like the Center Seat After Show, the podcast that you do after the episodes. Nice. And it just like goes into tons more detail because obviously the History Channel series is so great. But I just want all the information that you collected, and the after show is amazing. I think I've listened to like the first 3 so far that are out. They're just wonderful.
Wait to hear the Nicholas Myers one, because that
I can't even wait.
We, in a good way, like we really got into it. So and I think it's pretty funny too.
Oh, and I also have to say, I mean, I'm not biased at all, but Sirach just really pops in the Deep Space Nine episode especially, but also like the Trek stars. But oh my gosh, I was like, oh my gosh, we know him. I was so proud. Like such a great person to represent the show. Those are just wonderful. And we got to hear you do a Worf impression, which one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's an honor to be a part of the documentary. I was, instantly kind of interested once they said History Channel, because they really do a good job of getting in depth when they cover a subject. So I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be good. This is going to be in detail. And I'm sure they're going to, break apart and get into the nitty gritty of a lot of the things that happen. And I felt like during the interview, you guys asked certain questions that a lot of things, people kind of glaze over or don't get into. And I appreciated and respected that about your approach. I felt like the questions were really well thought out, and how you guys were saying, okay, we want to get this information out of, the person.
Thank you for noticing. And yes, we're very deliberate about that. Yeah. I mean, we've had interviews go over 5 hours because we're digging for something usually pretty specific.
Yeah,
I felt such a knowledge, like going into it, because I first heard you on Inglorious Treksperts a few years ago talking about like the specific Toys That Made Us episode about Star Trek, and like appreciating the nuances of how crappy Star Trek toys and merch was, and like how weird it got. Like the stuff that they would sell where they just slap stickers on random like junk that you sell at like a grocery store checkout in the 70s and 80s. And like I'm like, this guy has such an appreciation for the fandom and like the funny intricacies of the franchise. So it's just been like really great to see it carry on, like the editing for the clips that you choose for all the shows. Like it's such a reverence for like how wonderful Star Trek is, and sometimes like the clips you show even make you tear up, but then also you really nail like the humor of Star Trek and how funny and weird it can be sometimes in just a great way. The editing is just like magical.
Well, that Star Trek episode of Toys That Made Us, to me, was the rough sketch of what would become Center Seat. So like I said, we made the 50th anniversary of Star Trek for History Channel 5 years ago, and I'm very unhappy with how it came out. Some of it was my fault, some of it was out of my control. The Star Trek episode of Toys That Made Us was compensating for that. And I got to do a little bit of the Lucille Ball stuff in the Toys That Made Us episode, but it was about toys, so I couldn't do the deep dive. And then when this got greenlit for 10 hours, we were able to do finally what I've always wanted to do.
You know, you've mentioned that a couple times, not being happy with the 50-year documentary. It seems like you're touching on the answer to my question a little bit, but I was wondering what when you went in to do the 55-year documentary, what did you consciously want to do to kind of right the wrongs that you did in the 50th? I mean, there must have been some things, whether it was just better audio or different, addressing different stories. I don't know what you were specifically trying to address.
Yeah, no, it wasn't anything technical. I mean, what it really was is, and I talked about this once before, and I just want to make sure this doesn't come off as me slamming History Channel. This is not about History Channel. It's about us and who we were when we made that show. My company was changed like this by Toys That Made Us. The 50th was made before Toys That Made Us. So history had every right to be questioning us and saying, don't do this, don't do that, because who were we? We hadn't done anything like it. My company at the time was pretty much only known for making stand-up comedy. So here we are making a 2-hour show about Star Trek. Like, why would they trust us? So after Toys That Made Us came out, and then all the other stuff we've done that is perceived to be successful, by the time this got greenlit, I was able to say, here's how I want to do it. And if you don't want to do it like this, no problem, then we just won't do it. And by the grace of God, they were like, no, we want to do it. So I can give you, one of the other problems was we had 2 hours to cover 50 years. This time we had 10 hours. And it, as you know, it's not 55 years. The vision from the beginning was Gene and Lucille turn the lights on and Rick Berman turns them off. So we didn't get into Discovery, JJ's, or Lower Decks or whatever, or Picard. Mm-hmm. So we actually, I think, only covered about 35 years, but we had 10 hours to do it. Spoiler alert, I know.
It's just so good. And I really love that like Dorothy Fontana footage too. In the way that it's presented, and it just really fits into the whole tapestry of Star Trek and really like makes you think about like what happened with TNG and things like that. And in ways that even after all these years and hearing everybody's insight, it still gave me new ways to think about it, and just really has been blowing my mind.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think it's worth saying that one good thing that did come out of the 50th was, we shot all these interviews that we own. So like we have her interview, we have Leonard Nimoy because of the 50th.
Yeah. I was wondering if that was what it was from.
Yeah. So like you seem, Anne-Marie, like you may know this. To the best of my knowledge, we have Leonard Nimoy's last interview. I'm not aware of him doing an interview after ours, a professional 2-camera interview. And it was a good 3-hour interview. So
it's just amazing. Like, and they kind of like both he and Dorothy Fontana, even though she was with us a few more years, like there was something about both of the interviews and the footage that you use in Center Seat that really kind of has like a feeling of it's the twilight of their career, and they're looking back and kind of like contextualizing all of it and how it fits in Star Trek in a really special way. And especially like both of them, it really felt like it was almost like a little bit even more like retrospective than other interviews I've listened to from them, and in just a really, really fantastic, amazing way. And also the David Gerald insight about DC Fontana. Just, I'm completely blown away from that by this, and I'm about to start watching it a second time. Like, it's
You're
so
very
good.
kind. You're very, very kind. Thank you.
Hey,
So-
real quick. Oh, Sirach, just real quick, I do want to point out people are talking about you in the chat. By the way, everybody's giving you a lot of love, Brian, about they're saying they love the show. A lot of good stuff. But I do want to say, and our buddy Bill Erickson out in the blue skies of Montana says it's so awesome that you're bringing up Lucille Ball. It's really
my
good
favorite
stuff.
state, by the way. Tell him I said that.
Really, he can hear you. He's watching live. And Sirach, they are also in the chat talking about our buddy Galdu Scott is saying he's still impressed that Sirach is just as good of a journalist as Jake. And Chuck A says Jake could interview Sirach. So we'll see if that ever happens. Anyway, what were you saying, Sirach?
Yeah, that'll be for my last performance. I will interview myself. No, I wanted to ask you because you mentioned, first of all, with the Lucille Ball thing, the first time I learned about Lucille Ball's involvement in Star Trek came via a script that somebody wrote on Gene Roddenberry's life. And they asked me to, see if I can get it to the right places so that it can become a motion picture. And as I was reading the script, it was a very well-written script. I think it's an awesome story, and I actually think they should do a movie about Gene Roddenberry if his estate will allow. But ultimately, in the script, it talks about Lucille Ball and him trying to pitch it to, these various people and how many doors closed in his face. And I was reading the script and I'm like, how does nobody know this? Like, there's got to be more people that know about this. So I thought that was fascinating for me to kind of realize that, in the age that we talk about of women empowerment and we talk about, glass ceilings and things like that are, we see that Lucille Ball really was like trend-setting and did so much more than we already knew that she did. So I felt like that you mentioned giving her credit. I think that is a very important thing to do.
I mean, you can ask friends of mine from high school. Like I have been saying since maybe even junior high, if Gene is the father, Lucille is the mother. Like by the way, and we didn't get to put this in, it'll be on the Blu-ray, by the way. Like she invented multicam.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I heard you saying that on another interview. I was like, mind blown.
I
didn't know that.
It's 80 years later. They're doing it right now all around us in LA. Like they invented that. She invented what's called a put pilot, which is where a network must make a pilot. They must shoot it. She invented that concept. She had two. One was Star Trek and the other was Mission Impossible. So two
real underachiever.
Oh, and by the way, she's Lucille Ball.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I was actually thinking, like, when I heard you talking about that on the show and then in the after show in the multicam, I was like, oh yeah, now that I think about it, like that is why the Honeymooners and other shows look so dated when you watch them. It's just like one cam following everybody around. It's so brilliant.
To me, it's always like, imagine if Steve Jobs was the star of the #1 sitcom, like for 12 years running, and he invented Apple. Like that's who she is. Like she had a full-time job as an actress, and she built these things that are literally still. Tom Cruise, he's going to be Ethan Hunt till he dies. Like there's 3-4 Star Trek shows in production right now. Multicam there's probably 80 multicams in production right now. How long has she been dead? 30 years? Like, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Wow.
That's changing the game.
Brian, to ask a little bit more about the center seat, because I'm really interested in this, just like all the other nerds of the world are. If you had an 11th episode of the center seat, what would you like that to focus on?
Well, I don't know if you saw in the trailer F. Murray Abraham, but that should be a pretty big clue that there's probably going to be more episodes. But let me pretend there isn't, and then let me fairly answer your question. And that answer would be the next gen features.
Oh, okay.
I was hoping that.
Yeah.
Especially because
Right.
on Amazon, when you pull it down, it says season 1. And Ryan and I last night were talking,
Yes.
like, when's season 2?
Which is basically the other question. Is there going to be a season 2, or should we just assume probably or maybe?
It's likely. It's likely.
Wow.
We are not venting drive plasma with this show. That's for Mark Altman if he's listening.
Shout out to
Oh
Mark.
my gosh.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm happy then.
Brian, I wanted to ask you about the kind of switch that you made in your career, because you did say that you were doing comedy albums, and I did look up, and you pretty much work with every comedian there is who's made any special. Why the transition? Like, because this is completely outside of the realm of comedy, and now you're doing other things. What made you switch?
I mean, it's a great question, and I'm going to give you a truthful answer. So, I mean, I fell into comedy as I'd been in a comedy club once in my life before I got out to Hollywood. I was broke. I was out of money. I was interning for free. There's some dude who was assisting a manager. I didn't even know what a fucking manager did. So he was paying $50 a day cash. I was broke. I wasn't getting paid. I took the job. 3 years later, I was a manager of comedians. And
Wow.
believe it or not, nobody wanted me to manage documentaries about stuff I was passionate about. So I had to, and we still do them. I mean, I think we shot 5 this month. So, I mean, it's not like we're out of the stand-up business. We're in it more than ever. But we had to build that base so that we could start to do this. And then again, the game changer was Toys That Made Us. I mean, it took me 7 years to sell it. It was the most random, lucky break that happened that it even sold, let alone to Netflix. It's the second or third unscripted show ever greenlit by Netflix. So, like, it was just being at the right place. And I was already in business with them because of the stand-up. So after Toys That Made Us came out, because I know you know this, producers and directors, we get typecast just like actors. So that was why it took me so long to sell Toys That Made Us, was because every time I tried to sell it, people would be like, why is the stand-up guy talking about toys?
Yeah.
After Toys That Made Us came out, then when I would pitch stuff, it was like, oh my God, it's the guy who did Toys That Made Us. And it just started getting easier and faster. And that's really, without Toys That Made Us, we wouldn't be here right now. Well, the three of you would be, someone else but me.
Yeah, probably. We would probably still be doing this. That's true. But the Toys That Made Us, I just want to say, this was something that I remember when I first saw it. It was one of those things where you put on Netflix and it says, hey, do you want to watch this thing? And you're like, no, I'm coming here to watch this thing. And I came on like a second time. Hey, do you want to watch? No, and like on the third thing, I was like, yeah, all right, check it out. And I was gripped. I thought that it was just going to be a documentary about toys, but obviously I shouldn't, assume, such low standards from documentarians. You guys know what you're doing, and you built a story, and it was so fascinating and so interesting that I ended up just watching the whole, I just thought I was just going to click on it to see what's this thing about. And I couldn't look away. And so it's pretty obvious why it was such a huge hit. It wasn't just that you hit on a demographic, a demographic of people that were passionate about toys or passionate about sci-fi or 80s and 90s kids or anything like that. But on top of that, it was just a good watch. It was an interesting watch for anybody of any passion.
Again, first of all, thank you. Second of all, what I think people responded to was two things. One, I had a lifetime of watching documentaries, so I knew what I liked and didn't like about One of the big things was, I can't tell you how many docs are made about fun things that treat them like the rise and fall of the Third Reich. And it's like, why would anyone do a documentary about toys with serious music? And like it never, so that was part of it. And then the other part of it was, Netflix. The thing about Netflix is it's really hard to sell to them. But once you do, they leave you alone. And they let me make the show I wanted to make. And Shrak, to your point, like all my people I had worked with at that point in my career were comedy people. So I hired my friends. And we made a funny show. Whereas I think other people would have, who worked on Gettysburg, and brought in all these serious filmmakers and documentarians. And I just knew we were making a dumbass show about toys, have fun with it. And that's what we did. And thank God it worked. We had no idea if it would. I had no idea.
And did the origin for that idea? It sounds like a conversation that two guys would have over beer. Like, you remember that Voltron we had, or that He-Man, or that?
I remember it like it was a minute ago what happened. And it was like 15 years before it got greenlit. I was at the Borders Books, that is now, I think, a Ralph's, right next to the Beverly Center. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I was looking for a book about the origin of Transformer toys. And I remember seeing a shelf with like 9 books about the War of 1812. And I'm a big American history buff. But there was not a single book about Transformers toys. Then I started looking around the whole store. Barbie and Star Wars were the only toys that had anything, but even those books were like more about like the culture change. Like it wasn't about the history. It wasn't like what you saw in the show. Why was Optimus Prime called Optimus Prime? Why was the truck made the leader instead of the ambulance? Like there were no books about that. And ever since that moment, I was like, this is like the only billion-dollar business not being covered by documentaries. That's what it was. That's how it started.
Totally. Anne-Marie's like, I don't even know what they're talking about anymore right now.
I do, because I watched all of the episodes of The Toys That Made Us.
Okay, excellent. Beautiful. I do want to point out that in the chat right now, our good buddy Scott Jensen has a really good question for you, Brian. He's AKA Goldu Scott, of course.
It's the greatest scandal in history.
Isn't that brilliant? He's also helping us right now with our Seventh Rule podcast. He's helping us with our audio and making it sound amazing. So thank you very much for that, Scott. His question is, if there was any other TV sci-fi franchise you would like to do a docuseries on, what would it be?
See, I was polite to you, Ryan. I could have interrupted you 20%.
You knew it was coming, right? Yeah.
Well, no. But I wanted to be Battlestar Galactica.
Yes.
Ooh.
The original and the new one.
That's awesome. I was really taken by, especially in the center seat, like hearing from Ron Moore. He just has like such cool things to say. And while I was watching, I was like, wow, I'd really like to hear him talk about everything, all his projects.
Do you want to hear the greatest, not a word I use often, meta story of all time? I think this is meta. I'm still not entirely sure what that means. But
it means Facebook now.
That's right. We all need to stop saying that word.
No, I like it.
So this is like around 2007. good friend of mine was producing the EPKs for Galactica. He knew I was a fan, and he let me come up and PA for him. Now, mind you,
Nice.
I'm managing huge comedians selling out stadiums at that point in my life. And I'm literally like getting coffee on the set. I flew myself up. I paid for my hotel just so I could visit the set of Galactica.
Nice.
So towards the end of the day, I'm in the hangar bay, the hangar pod. Sorry, how embarrassing, the hangar pod. They have a Viper there. They have the full scale Viper. And my buddy goes, "Get in, man. I'll take a picture." I'm like, "Dude, can't you get in trouble for that?" He's like, "That's 6 o'clock. Everyone's gone. Get in. I'll take a picture." So I get in. As he's taking the picture, Ron Moore walks in. He told me later he had never, in all the probably 200 days of being on set over 6 years or whatever, never seen Ron Moore walking around by himself at 6 o'clock. And I freeze, my buddy freezes, and Ron being Ron, of course, I had never met him yet at that point. Ron goes to John, my friend, "Hey, do you want to get in the picture?"
Oh,
Nice.
My friend was like, "Sure." So Ron takes the picture of us with the Viper. When I was interviewing Ron for Center Seat via Zoom, I showed him the picture.
No
and
way.
told him the story. And he was, that's meta, right? Is that a meta
Yes.
story?
yes.
It's,
And so cute.
we'll say yes.
Thank you. You're very kind. But yeah, that was a highlight, showing him the picture that he took 15
that's
years
too
later,
adorable.
13 years later.
Oh, what a nice guy.
It's awesome.
That's a great story. Yeah, I thought he was going to curse you out and tell you to get the hell out of here.
No,
I know.
I've never even heard of that side of Ron Moore.
Yeah, no, he's such a sweet guy. He's an amazing man.
By the way, as somebody who's interviewed a lot of people, you can trust me when I tell you this. Boy, does that man have a good memory.
I was totally
Really?
stricken by that and raving about that to
Mind-blowing.
everybody I talked to today. I was like, the details he remembers, even random Klingon phrases.
Yeah,
It's just, I
it
was
was like
so blown
crazy.
away.
And he would preface things by saying, "It was a long time ago, but the paint was blue. It was cold that morning." I mean,
Yeah,
Wow.
these are the geniuses that do this. Their mind is just like supercomputers. So
yeah.
Ron Moore, Ira, these guys are there's so much information in there. It's just amazing. But you got to ask the right question to get
Yes.
it out of them, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, we did not have the easiest time getting Ira to come in. And I get it. I mean, how sick are you talking about this stupid show? Like for 20, 30, 40 years, like Walter Koenig, it almost was painful asking him questions. I'm like, he want to kill himself.
Did his shoulders slump when you asked him the question that he's heard 300
No,
times?
he was great, but again,
Yeah.
it was 2.5 years of his life, almost 60 years ago. He's still being asked about the monkeys. So, but when they were so, once they got in and they got it and they saw what we were doing, I think his interview was almost 5 hours. It was, Doug Drexel came in, I think 3 separate times.
Doug's awesome. Okay,
So,
Brian,
great.
update. The live chat is confirming that it is, in fact, meta, your story. So,
Thank you, live chat.
so in case anybody was wondering, it is confirmed. That is so meta.
Perfect. Great.
So we just have maybe a minute left before I know 2 of you have to run. Here's a super quick question that you probably have heard before, but we have not heard the answer to. Chuck A asks, of the new Star Trek series, if you've got a favorite.
Shop, you want to go or I'll go? Who's going?
Probably you.
Oh,
Brian.
do I have a favorite?
I mean,
who am I being?
yeah.
Oh, am I being asked? Oh, if I'm being asked, that's the easiest question in the world to answer. Lower Decks.
I knew you and
knew
Sirach
it.
would have the same answer. Sirach, same answer, right?
Same answer.
That's
It's
really
the best
easy.
show.
Actually, that's what
I
I'm
mean,
wearing right now.
It's
Yeah.
the best new show. It's just pure comedy.
It's pure comedy, but there's also a lot of pathos. Like there are
Totally.
moments, especially towards the end of season 2, that made me tear up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
when I almost gave away a pretty big spoiler. But I absolutely love that show. Love that show. That is the easiest question to answer. Don't
Us
read
too.
into that answer too much.
We all too late, but we'll strike it from the record.
Perfect.
Well, isn't your company making toys now also, or thinking about getting into toys?
No, we're
Maybe
making
we
them.
could get some Lower Decks toys.
No, I would never. So funny. One day, something good happened at work, and I texted my wife, I got great news. And she wrote back, did Eagle Moss go bankrupt? And for those that you don't maybe know, Eagle Moss makes very beautiful. I mean, I've heard they make other stuff than Star Trek, but in my world, they make beautiful Star Trek ship replicas. And I would never want to go head to head with Eagle Moss. So that's all that.
Okay. Nobody wants to go against Eagle Moss. They
Right.
are a big deal and very good
Gorgeous.
at what they do. Wow, there's so much more to talk about, but Brian, this has been really, really cool. We hope to see you again sometime. We are looking forward
January.
to. Yes. Can we go ahead and say
Oh,
that? Let the people know, Brian, about
Yes.
January. Yeah. So everybody, Brian will be joining us on the 7th Rule to review a Deep Space Nine episode in January. Exact episode and date to be announced later, but
Can
check
it
it out.
involve a baseball, please? That
That
is
baseball.
one of my favorite moments. Goldu Scott will love this. That is one of my favorite moments in all of Star Trek, not just Deep Space Nine. All of Star Trek is when Gul Dukat says, it means he'll be back.
We just reviewed that, didn't we?
Yes.
Ah!
So good.
Yes,
So good.
that was-
This guy gets
Yes.
it.
What's the episode with the most amount of par race shit? That's what I want to do. That'll be the funniest episode you ever do.
Yes.
It'll be a roast.
Episode 1.
It'll be your first roast.
We've had some roasts, right, Sirach? I mean, those first couple seasons, there were a couple roasts in there, but
Oh my
Yeah.
god, hard to roast things that live in fire caves.
What about when the two
Oh.
characters least likely to be into each other hook up? What about that?
Which one?
yeah,
Talk
no
about that.
spoilers.
Those are my favorites.
Sirach's like, who are you talking about, man?
I
cannot wait till you find out.
I'm thinking, who are the
I
least likely?
cannot wait till you find out.
I'll give
the two-
you a clue. It involves par race.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
Oh.
All right.
All right. So yeah, Brian, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. We can't wait to see you in a couple months.
Thank
We
you. This
really,
really
really
was a blast.
appreciate you taking the time out. We know you're extremely busy. Anybody Google Brian and you'll be like, where did he find the time? But we really appreciate it. Thanks very much, Brian.
Thank you. And Sirach, thank you, man, for doing our show. Just want to say thank you again for doing it. Appreciate it greatly. Your interview was wonderful.
It was an absolute pleasure. Remember that it was during COVID,
Yes.
and it was also during the time that I got rid of my car. So I actually biked to the valley where we were filming. It was one of my longest bike rides ever. So I'm glad.
But you still look so good.
Yeah, I brought a whole change of clothes. I damn near took a shower before I had to actually get on camera. But it was a real pleasure and an honor for you guys to, invite me to speak in the documentary. I thought it was really well done, and and thank you for coming on this show and sharing some of your stories, which are just, I mean, we can go on and on. I have so many questions, but we'll have to save them for the next time.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all. And I have, can I say have a good Thanksgiving? Is that all right? Is it going to
Yeah.
date this episode?
You can say, oh no, this is live. We're good to
Oh,
go.
okay.
This is
All right,
And
good.
last
Then
thing
have a
is,
great Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble.
War Dogheim in Montana says, when Brian comes to Montana to interview Dirk Benedict for the OGBSG side, we need to have a steak dinner. So
We'll do that. Tell 'em we'll do it in Red Lodge.
all right. He hears
Red
it.
Lodge.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
See ya.
Wow, that was awesome. Really cool. So now we're going to be joined by another Scott, a different Gull Du Scott. We'll call him
Scott
Glenn.
galore.
No, Leggett Du Scott.
Like,
He's coming. There he is, everybody. Filmmaker, smiler, Gull Du
Nice
Scott
uniform.
Baker. No, we can't reuse that. Scott Baker.
Hey, that was an awesome interview with Brian. Oh, that was crazy.
Man, so much good stuff,
Amazing.
right?
Yeah, huh?
There's like
Yeah.
other new shows out right now too, like more movies that made us. There's a Disneyland show or a Disney Plus show about Disneyland attractions,
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even ask him about that. You're right. That's
which
a
sounds freaking
Dropping the
amazing.
ball.
Disneyland attractions are so cool. He just does so much stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
Scott, what's new with you, by the way, before we move into the next phase of things? What's up with you?
What is up with me? I'm just doing my thing, writing, shooting stuff. But I mean, I guess it could be a segue into like the next things. The Nichelle Nichols Comic-Con thing is coming up. So
Right.
Oh
yeah. So I'm gonna be the like official behind the scenes shooter for that thing, getting interviews with people, shooting the moments with Nichelle and everything like that. So hooked up with Sky, and we worked out all the logistics of that thing. So I'll be there all weekend, like videoing all the fun stuff that's happening there.
Wow.
And
Wow.
we got
That's gonna be cool.
we got our very own Thomas E. Supernaut, makeup effects genius, is going to be Nichelle Nichols' like personal makeup and hairstylist for the weekend.
He's going to make her
Freaking
a
amazing.
Kardashian, you guys.
Yes,
I cannot
yeah.
wait. I cannot
Yes.
wait.
Well, Kardashian one day, he'll make her a Klingon another day.
Ugh,
and
Orion the third day. We are
no,
going.
Sundays
Well, also,
making her a
like-
Telluride. So
Okay,
And also during those
Got it.
videos, he was getting like Urban Decay makeup out. Like he has all the good stuff.
yeah. So yeah,
Mhm.
he's gonna be getting some sponsors to for makeup products and stuff like that, because that's what he does. So
Mhm.
So cool.
yeah, so that'll be a fun weekend. He's over the moon excited to be working with her, because I don't know if he's met her before, but I mean, he's worked on all the next gen DS9 and Voyager and all those, but hasn't obviously isn't old enough to have worked on the original series or any of the original series movies or anything like that. So because he's not just a makeup artist, he's like a Trekkie himself, and yeah, he's super excited about that. So it's gonna be a fun weekend.
I guess we can announce this, by the way. Sirach Lofton and myself will also be there, by the way, everybody. So we hope to. I said Sirach Lofton and myself will also be there.
No
So
way.
everybody, yeah, we're going to be guests over at the Nichelle Nichols farewell convention. Finally, this was supposed to have happened a long time ago, and then COVID was being all annoying and making everybody delay stuff like a little rascal. And so it's been delayed for 18 months or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Sirach and I will be there, and we are very much looking for, and our buddy Rico Anderson, of course, we're looking forward to seeing Scott in his element with the camera. He's so good with the camera. He's always like, is it going to be like a steady cam or just like a little handheld?
Oh no, I'll probably have like a little have like on a little tripod, to set it
You
down.
should do like a steady cam thing and like zoom up into people, make it like look like super artsy.
Yeah. Not for
Okay.
like 8 hours a day on it.
Okay, so real quick, the live chat, JR Poole says, Baker. Chuck A says, Scott Baker, hey. Scott Jensen says, the Scots are keeping it real. Galinda says, yay, Scott Baker. David Gregory says, yay, Scott Baker. There was space.
But you also asked how many Scots we can get.
And then Chuck
Great
A
Scott.
says, great Scott. Okay, and a couple people
It keeps
didn't
getting
talk
better.
about you.
Scotland.
Scotland.
Let's get out this.
Yeah, David Gregory says, how many Scots can we have? Can we get that
How many
Bacula guy?
Scots
Ooh,
do-
that's a good
Oh, yeah.
suggestion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so here's a little bit more news. The seventh rule, on the seventh rule last week, we launched our Indiegogo campaign. It's a short 22-day one. Let's just knock it out, have some fun, and go party and expand the show, make it bigger and better than ever before.
Do your holiday shopping.
Yeah, we launched that on Wednesday, and we surpassed our goal in 2 hours, which is pretty awesome. So that means thank you very much to the people in Europe and on the East Coast, because that was like 6 a.m. our time. So it was probably those guys that gave us that initial jump. Thanks very much to everybody that donated and everybody that has not. Please do put in $1. That's it. No big deal. Or a quid, as the Brits like to say. Also, Falling Tower. Oh, wait, what am I doing? Look at this, you guys. I can just show you. Why tell you when I can show you, except for the people listening are like, you can't show us. So what I'm about to do is show everybody a little certificate. Do you see that? That says Falling Tower, 1 million subscribers, achieved November 19th, 2021.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, that's refrigerator quality.
So we just, actually, I think that happened also on Wednesday. Wednesday was a big day for both host channels of the seventh rule. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. Okay, here's the deal. He found out during recording that he was finally going to get the kidney transplant that he'd been waiting for 6 years. During the recording, he leaves for like 20 minutes. He comes back. That new episode was just premiered a couple days ago on Virtual TrekCon's Sunday Minicon. So check that out. We were reviewing Fantastic Four. And so he's already had the surgery, the transplant. It's been a great success. He's had his catheter removed. He's been home. He's moving on with life. He's getting better every day. And we can't wait to have him back. He's getting better every day.
He's watching the first of things.
He is. I don't think he's watching us right now, though. He's probably eating dinner. He's like, I'm eating dinner.
He's trying to get better, so he doesn't want to watch you. It's gonna
lose his lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say also, an upside to the Nichelle Nichols thing being postponed is that at the Comic-Con, as part of the Nichelle Nichols event, the new episode of Renegades, or the spin-off, whatever, the Amanara one, is going to be premiering there.
See?
That
Oh, wow.
thing. So anybody who was part of that crowdfunding campaign will be able to look forward to that episode dropping wherever it drops. But yeah, so like I got to work on that one as well.
Right.
I was the camera operator, and I was actually cinematographer for one day on it, which was pretty cool.
Was it an outdoor shoot? It was an outdoor shoot that you did that, right?
Yeah, it was two parts. We shot out at Vasquez Rocks, which was pretty freaking awesome to be the cinematographer on that out of Vasquez Rocks with Tim Russ and everything. And then we went back into the studio to shoot because like I don't want to give away what happens, but there's a
do it.
Almost did it. We're shooting inside of like a little shuttlecraft kind of thing, and so I got to shoot like the exterior on the alien planet, which is the Vasquez Rocks location, and then inside the shuttlecraft with the characters. And it looks like a cool show. We shot some really cool, fun stuff. And obviously it's Nichelle Nichols' last performance and stuff like that. So
That's amazing.
Good times. Yeah. So
That's
excited
really
to be able
cool.
to see that live at the.
Thanks for the update there.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot to mention that. That is going to be really cool for everybody that is excited
Figured
about
you would.
that. Anne Marie, any thoughts on Aminara, Nichelle Nichols,
No. So
LA
tomorrow-
Comic Con?
Well, I wish I was going to that, but tomorrow I'm going to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade balloon
love it.
inflation, like which is they didn't have it last year. It's so fun. It happens like around the Natural History Museum, and it's so surreal. And you just like go around the whole like perimeter of the museum, and they're blowing up all the balloons. Okay, Ryan, stop yelling. But there are all these Star Wars ones, and so my big like praying to the wormhole aliens this year is that next year there'll be like some Star Trek ones because of Prodigy. I feel like it could maybe happen.
I think you're right. It was not
It
impossible.
would be super
certainly.
fun. Like William Shatner was in the parade before, but I don't know if there've ever been any Star Trek balloons.
Okay. You guys want to do a little bit of Star Trek trivia?
Yes.
So our good
Check
friend,
it to me.
Dr. Muhammad Noor, I should pull it up. Let me stall a little bit. He sent in some questions from a Star Trek trivia game from 1993. So bear that in mind when we ask the questions. Don't say like, Star Trek Nemesis, because that's not going to be the answer.
Oh, good. So there won't be any Paul Riff talk.
No. Mm-mm. Okay.
The answer is Ryan T. Husk.
Yeah, that's right. I was after 93.
The answer is Neil.
Ryan T. Husk is not correct. Oh yeah. Okay, so everybody,
have you guys
at
talked
home,
about that on the show yet?
No, we should have. That should have been first. We should have been like, Brian, you're coming on at 5:15 because we need to talk about this.
The whole show should have just been about that.
So if those of you that may have watched the Star Trek Discovery virtual premiere, that is, by Paramount Plus, which was awesome, by the way, Paramount Plus, keep up the good work. They had these actors playing characters, playing like Vulcans and whatever, and asking trivia questions. And I guess a Vulcan was asking a question because Neil Bloomgarden, I believe,
because it was a live interactive thing that we didn't even realize at the time, and so there was this live chat going for people who didn't see it. It was this live chat going where people were answering the questions live, but then people were just saying comments because you could see who was on there. And so you can just be like, oh, hey, what's up, Anne Marie? Like I could see Anne Marie posting stuff and things like that. Yeah.
And I think I popped in, said something like, hey guys, or whatever like that. But anyway, so Neil apparently says.
Okay, the question was who invented or came up with the Vulcan nose pinch?
A neck pinch,
obviously is,
so Neil just says Ryan T. Husk because I guess he
exclamation
was saying,
point.
I guess he was saying hello to me or saying Ryan's here or whatever it was, right? But we're all, Scott and myself and Sarat and Andre, Melissa, we're watching the premiere at Andre's place and we're talking amongst ourselves. And then all of a sudden we just hear this Vulcan guy going, no, Ryan T. Husk is not correct.
And then the live chat went like crazy, laughing so hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were.
Why is this Vulcan all of a sudden yelling at me? I wasn't even talking to him. So it's pretty aggressive of him.
And that was it was like shocking for us because we didn't realize it was a live interactive thing. We thought the whole thing was like pre-recorded, and so we were like, "What the heck?" And then we died. We're like for like half an hour. We were like on the floor rolling, laughing. It's pretty amazing.
And then when we stopped laughing on the floor, then we were just on the floor.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward at that point.
Yeah. Okay. So J.R. Poole seems like he watched it. Scott Jensen did. He said that chat was a freaking machine gun. Yeah, there was a lot of people.
Yeah, it was very heavily seventh rule.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Good job. Good turnout, seventh rulers.
Chat Pack.
Good job, Chat Pack. Okay. Taking over Chat Pack Army.
That was fun. And shout out to Andre Kottman, the sax man who plays saxophone with the Tim Russ band on occasion. for doing that fun premiere party for us
And
to watch it.
Paramount Plus.
And thank you to
for
Paramount
hosting
Plus
such an amazing event.
Mhm.
for literally everything. You guys are awesome. And I know you're watching, so thanks for
Yes.
watching. Oh, and I'm wearing your shirt, Paramount Plus. So thanks for doing
Thanks
that.
for clothing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would be making it if it wasn't for.
Very soon the weather's going to be cool enough here in LA for me to wear the Prodigy sweater, but not yet. It's still in the 70s and 80s this week.
Ooh.
Okay, trivia, everybody. Here we
Okay.
go.
Get my
Everybody
trivia
at
hat
home.
on.
Yes, this is it. This is big money. Question number 1. And Scott and Anne-Marie, don't yell out the answer yet. We know that you know it.
Get my hand on the buzzer.
Geordi wanted to make some overdue routine adjustments to what engineering conduit while the USS Enterprise was no longer in warp drive? Is it A? I'm watching Anne-Marie to see if she even knows it. She doesn't know. Okay. Is it A, antimatter containment, B, deuterium control conduit, or C, Jeffrey's tube?
Do I need to write down my answer? Do we shout it
No.
out or what?
Okay, one more time. Geordi wanted to make some overdue routine adjustments to what engineering conduit while the USS Enterprise was no longer in warp drive? A, antimatter containment, B, deuterium control conduit, C, Jeffrey's tube. So we'll give everybody a minute, not even a minute, like
I'm just
quarter of a
reminiscing about the
minute.
Royale when like Data's so fun gambling and he's like, baby needs a new pair of shoes. One of my favorite Data lines.
All right, I'm seeing some
These are
answers
some
popping up in the
hard
chat.
questions.
Okay, Anne-Marie, do you have a guess?
I honestly like context because I want to say A, but also I sort of remember C and it not like making that much sense. So I have no idea.
Well, instead of going with your gut, you should have just looked at Scott's answer.
Wait,
He is
Scott,
correct.
something?
The answer is B, deuterium control conduit.
Oh wait,
I was gonna say flex
How
capacitor,
did
but
I-
that wasn't one of the
where was
options.
B? in-
Well, David Gregory says smells
Totally
like
Scott
a
just
bee.
said the
Hey.
answer is yes.
Yeah. David Gregory says it smells
Yes.
like a bee. Hey, if it walks like a bee, talks like a bee, smells like a bee, it must be a bee. Am I right? Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
I love these. I love learning new stuff.
question number 2. What disrupted the transmission being sent to the USS Enterprise by Daled 4 in the episode The Dauphin? How did they pronounce
The
that?
Dauphine.
The
It's French.
Dauphin. Well, in French, we say Dauphin. So that's
Well, yeah,
why I
I
was
think
like,
it's that. Well,
I have
that's
to
oh,
like,
so
I
here's
have to
the
like
weird
guess
thing.
how Americans say it.
Because it's that one with the girl who like has the caretaker who looks like a Care Bear. So the weird thing is they wrote it wrong for the feminine form of Dauphin. They like
I
it's
feel
an
like-
error in the title.
I feel like you're just stalling for time because you don't know the answer.
Okay.
Oh, wait. So I don't know
Is
the answer,
it-
but that's the fun
is it-
thing about the title.
A, the planet's ionosphere, B, the planet's troposphere, or C, the planet's magnetic storm systems. Boy, oh boy, that's a
Who's
good
even
one.
caring about the details of this episode when you're just watching Wesley on his first date eating chocolate pudding? So cute.
Okay, once again, the question is, what disrupted the transmission being sent to the USS Enterprise by Daled 4 in the episode Le Dauphin? Is it A, the planet's ionosphere, B, the planet's troposphere, or C, the planet's magnetic storm systems?
We'll say C.
Scott says C as well. C,
No
it's
one's saying it
B.
in here.
It's B,
Oh,
the
Chuck A said
planet's
B.
troposphere.
Hmm.
Well done, Chuck A.
Great job, everybody. The answer is Ryan T. Husk. Chuck A with the deep cut.
That's from now on.
You are
Always.
not correct.
Okay. Question number 3. Okay, so this is what's cool about this game. The next 2 questions are about the same episode, so you can kind of start piecing
Mohammed
things
hooked this
together.
up.
Yeah, this is good job, Mohammed. Thank you.
Love this.
As learned in Le Dauphin, why was Wesley told to be careful of the superconducting magnet he was holding? Answers could be A, he could destroy the computer files in his quarters. B, the magnet's container was unstable and prone to discharge. Or C, it could rip the iron from his blood cells.
I think it's C. But that's not all that was prone to discharge in that episode.
Ew.
Whoa, zip, zing,
Yeah,
zog.
I'm pretty sure it's C.
Hmm.
All right, I'll read it once more. Okay. The question
Whoa.
is,
This is immersive.
as learned in Le Dauphin, why was Wesley told to be careful of the superconducting magnet he was holding? A, he could destroy the computer files in his quarters. B, the magnet's container was unstable and prone to discharge. Calm down, Anne-Marie. C, it could rip the iron from his blood cells.
Also, like, who cares about the files in Wesley's quarters? It's like a school report. Big deal.
Oh, hey.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. Did you just hold a magnet?
Scott's turning into a bunch of snowflakes. Okay.
So cold. I feel like some hot chocolate.
Okay, I'm seeing some B's and some C's. The answer is C. It could rip the iron from his blood cells.
That's such a cool thing to talk about in Star Trek, because that's like the next, like, there is iron in your blood cells. That's awesome.
It's like the X-Men movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Last question about the Dauphin. In the Dauphin, how did Salia know so much about superconducting magnets? Is it A, study, B, her father built them, or C, she grew up around engineers? In the Dauphin, how did Salia know so much about superconducting magnets? A, study, B, her father built them, or C, she grew up around engineers? I feel bad for the people that didn't watch this episode.
It's so good.
I would think that if her father built them, then technically she would be raised around engineers because her father would be an engineer. So
also, isn't her dad like a king? So why is he sitting around like trifling with magnets? Also, if she's like the heiress, why is she hanging out with so many engineers?
What's cool about these questions is they're super tough, but I bet if you watch the episode recently, you know these answers right away.
I love it. These are my favorite kind of questions.
All right. Scott Baker says A. The answer is A.
But also, which one was Talia? Was it the Care Bear changeling, or was it the princess?
Question number 5. Oh, this is an easy one. Okay. Anne-Marie's going to get this right away. So don't say the answer right away, Anne-Marie, because let's see if Scott knows it. Right now, he's beating you like 2-0.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you've gotten
0.
I
had one. Right. I had the iron in the blood cell one.
Yeah.
Okay, 2-1.
I got 2 right and 1 wrong so far. So
okay. A strategist of what species was assigned to oversee the battle simulation between Picard and Riker in peak performance? Oh yeah, in peak performance. Because I think some people know this without even needing to hear the answers. Is it A, Vulcan, B, Zach Dorn, or C, Bolian? A, Vulcan, B, Zach Dorn, C, Bolian. It's a toughie. It's a toughie unless you know it. Then it's an easy. Scott, do you have a guess? Scott says C. Anne-Marie, what is the correct answer? Yeah.
Which I didn't even know, but the other two answers are so obviously not true.
Oh, really? I thought you'd know this one.
I don't remember Zach. I don't remember alien names that well.
Yeah. Zach Dorn.
I just remember
Zach Dorn.
the milk udders.
And playing Data at chess or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pulaski.
A few more. Here we go. And we're sticking with the Zach Dorns. What is the name of the these are tougher because it's not multiple choice. What is the name of the Zach Dorn strategist in the episode Peak Performance? This is a lot.
Dude, that's insane. Oh my god, I love this game. This is the level I like.
Charles. That's my final
Does anybody know? I think somebody in the live chat is going to know this. What is the name of that Zach Dorn? You know, the guy.
He has a cute little brown outfit.
Charles.
Yeah, the Zach Dorn strategist in Peak Performance.
And he looks like such a dupler.
Okay. Oh, Chuck A got it. The answer is Sirna Kohlrami.
Kohlrami. I did know that. I didn't know his full name.
Scott Jensen says Zach Dorn. War Dogheim says Zach
Kohlrami.
Dorn, dude of strategy. JR Poole says Neil.
Zach Dorn. Please.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Number 7. Who is the only person known to have beaten Data at the game of Stratagema? David Gregory says Mon Calamari. That is an excellent Star Wars reference. That's Admiral Akbar is from Mon Calamari. Very good.
But isn't it the one guy we just talked about?
It is the one guy we just talked about, Sirna Kohlrami. Very good. Sirna Kohlrami is the only person known to have beaten Data at the game of Stratagema. 2 more.
But he's not even a person, which that's an offensive wording.
Maybe.
Well, what's a person?
We're back to the previous episode now. What was the name of Daled 4's head of state in the episode The Dauphin?
Oh, I was going to say the Dauphin.
The question is,
wasn't Salia
what was the
monster?
name? What was the name of Daled 4's head of state in the episode The Dauphin? Anybody know?
Was it that girl? Was it Salia or Celia or something?
It was Salia. Some of these, it's kind of like they give the answer previously, but probably in this trivia game, they're all mixed up, you know?
I love it. This is so fun. I love these early TNGs.
So good. All right. Last question. This is the big one. This is for all the marbles, you guys. Oh, wait. So, Anne-Marie, did you just take the lead 3-2 on Scott Baker?
Probably, yeah.
This is it. This is it, you guys. Final question. In the episode Peak Performance, what ship was Will Riker in command of?
Is there multiple choice?
No.
This is insane.
In the episode Peak Performance, what ship was Will Riker in command of?
That was just some like
It should be
defunct hunk of junk.
in what ship was Will Riker in command? Or of what ship? Here's a hint. Les Mis.
Eddington.
Chuck A has the correct answer. The USS Hathaway.
Hathaway, that's your lame miss.
Wasn't
Oh my
she in that
God.
Les Mis movie that I never saw?
Yeah.
Yeah. David Gregory got it.
Lame is that clue.
I know. Wow. That's who you think of that's your lamest crew, like clue?
No, that was my Hathaway clue.
Okay.
All right. Time to move on from that.
These are great questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Anne Marie, I know I have not seen those episodes in like 20 years, I think.
Yeah.
For a rewatch.
Yeah, I remember because I was a toddler. I remember sipping apple juice at the time watching.
I think they actually showed
the
a
90
Dolphin clip in Center Seat for like a second.
Okay. So Anne Marie Siegel, aka Dr. Anne Marie Siegel, where can people find you online if they'd like to follow you and see the
trivia question?
kind of? We could guess.
Yeah. Twitter at Anne Marie Siegel 1.
Anne Marie Siegel 1. Is there an E in Anne?
Oh no, ANNMARIESEGAL number 1.
Scott Baker, where can they follow you? And do you have anything you'd like to promote, by the way?
You can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm, I guess, most active. It's Mr. Scotty Baker on Instagram. Do I have anything to promote? No, I have some stuff coming up, but nothing that's out now to actively talk about, I guess.
I guess we already hit it with the Nichelle Nichols thing. So everybody go check out Scott Baker in action, holding a camera and making people look good, because that's what he does so well.
If you're at the LA Comic-Con next week, find me and give me a high five or something. I don't know.
And everybody, you can find me just by Googling Ryan T. Husk, and whatever, you want to follow me on Twitter or, Instagram or whatever. Probably better to just follow the 7th Rule or Virtual TrekCon or Falling Tower or something like that, because we're always online, we're always playing, we're always having fun. And now we actually have the Star Trek Day trivia question of the week.
Ooh.
Look at how pretty that is.
Wow.
Star Trek Day trivia question of the week. Here we go.
That was so much trivia, I can't hardly
I know.
keep it together.
Which of the following characters, this is too easy, you guys.
Well, I knew it was going to be, yeah.
Which of the following characters was trapped? Okay, so whoever answers first in the live chat wins, because it's a first thing. It's like whoever can type it out the fastest. And I'll give you guys a hint.
We don't need any of your hints if it's
It is relevant to today's live episode. Here we go.
Oh.
Which of the following characters, and by the way, no, I'm just kidding. Which of the following characters was trapped in a transporter buffer for 75 years? I don't even need to read off the
Miles.
Which of the following characters was trapped in a transporter buffer for 75 years?
Chief Miles O'Brien.
Let's see if they answer it, or if I should say the A, B, C, and D options. I think people are going to know this one. What was the episode called? Relics?
Yeah.
Was it
Relics?
They got it. Galinda and J.R. Poole said Scotty. That's how it was relevant to today's episode.
Favorite episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, another Scott.
The suggestions, the possibilities were A, James T. Kirk, B, Montgomery Scott, C, Hikaru Sulu, and D, Leonard McCoy. So, oh shit, I shouldn't have answered that. That's supposed to be at the
Remember
end. Anyway.
though? Also, I thought we like wait to talk about what's coming up before we give the answer.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I should have given the answer right away. But anyway, so everybody at home, here's what's coming up next. Yesterday, I guess that's not next if I say yesterday, but yesterday, the Seventh Rule just released our full review of Deep Space Nine, Season 5, Episode 26, Call to Arms, with legendary Deep Space Nine writer-producer Robert Hewitt Wolf. So check that out. That is available right now on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. Check it out. Just released it yesterday. Just premiered
It's
it.
amazing. And my favorite
Stop
part,
pushing us right now and go watch that.
it's so good. But my favorite thing is that Ira was retweeting about it during the live chat. It was so cute.
Yes, Ira Stephen Bear was retweeting about it, and that was really cool. We really love Ira. And Robert was awesome on that review. Really, really, really like having Robert there, because that was his final episode, as a staff writer. Mm-hmm.
I already watched it a second time today. It's that good.
Wow. Thursday, this upcoming Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, the Seventh Rule will be reviewing the new Discovery episode. That's episode 2 of season 4. Then on Sunday, Virtual TrekCon has the Sunday Mini-Con. That is a premiere of the Virtual TrekCon 2 video with Rod Roddenberry. Also, Falling Tower has watched the first podcast reviewing Dark on Netflix, the new Netflix series entitled Dark, with meteorologist Katie Nicolau, who everybody should know, and special guest host, in lieu of our friend Mr. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, we have actress Bridget Fitzgerald. And by the way, it was suggested to us by our good friend Eve England out in Wales, who will be celebrating a birthday, I think the day right before that. So happy birthday to Eve England, everybody.
It's such a good show. Like, really love that show.
Oh my gosh. Also, did you see her birthday invitation pictures on her Instagram? She had them designed by JJ Lendl.
No way.
So yeah, make sure you're following her on Instagram. They're awesome.
It's not, I gotta find her on Instagram.
Isn't it like Evie England? Or no, Eve Tronic.
Right? Oh yeah.
So cool though.
Let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, I can.
I'm sure we all would have had invitations. It's just that it's in Wales.
Okay. Anyway, so shout out to Eve England, who made that suggestion and who is celebrating her 25th birthday. And we love Eve. So hopefully we will review the show that you like favorably. Also on the Sunday Mini-Con this coming Sunday, we have, so it's all going to start with a Deep Space Nine review by the Seventh Rule, of course, plus all those things that I just mentioned, and a bunch of other stuff like live panels and stuff. It's going to be a great time. That starts at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. Lastly, next week, Tuesday, we've got the main viewer back. So come back and join us on the main viewer. Final thing, do you guys have any cool music you think people should listen to? Maybe something old. We did ABBA before. We did Regulators.
I've been listening to a lot of the Black Keys.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. All their stuff is good. It's got this sort of vintage rock feel to it.
Mm-hmm. Feels 70s.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good. That's a great one. Check out the Black Keys, everybody. Okay. Well, that's about it. Scott, thanks so much for jumping in. And that's really cool. I hope you did enjoy the interview with Brian. It seems like you did. Which is cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Mm-hmm. Everybody go check out the center seat. It's just, especially Sirach. He just steals the show, in my opinion.
He does.
So cute.
And when we watch it, we're like, oh, that's our Sirach. Go get it,
Tiger.
I know. JR Poole says Prodigy soundtrack. Dude, that Prodigy theme song is too good. Mm-hmm. Okay, and JR Poole says the new Adele 30.
I haven't listened yet.
Me neither. We'll check it out. Cool. So I think that's about it. Now, everybody, thank you to Scott. Thank you to Anne-Marie. Thank you to everybody at home. Remember,
Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome. Remember that if you like awkward pauses on your podcasts,
I thought we were going to go for you doing that like Spock main viewer thing.
oh, right. Okay. So this is my
But
impression
it doesn't
of,
really work for audio.
of Spock doing to me. Put it on the main viewer. No, that's terrible. All right. Thanks
So
very
that
much,
is
guys.
good.
See you next time.
Fascinating. Bye.